Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Operator Terminal Expert. I'm your host, Leandro Mada, and in this video what we're going to see is how we can make a gauge visualization in the software so we can visualize analog values. So let's go to the software and see how we can do this. So I'm going to create a new project, and the idea is to visualize something nice. So I'm going to use these two elements, okay, in order to visualize like a gauge. So we need the circle scale and this element. So the idea is to put one next to the other above, so you can see this, how it feels, okay, with the analog value that we have. You can try to position them in just one specific place, but what I usually do is to have, for example, a grid, and inside the grid, for example, let's use 400, okay. Then we can add the numeric value this way. Let's function font. Let's increase this 32 decimals. I'm going to use 3, gonna be percentage, and suffix percentage. Okay, then I will add a variable for this. So decimal current value, add new value. In this case, it can probably came from the PLC. My bar, add. Okay, so here I'm going to visualize the percentage of something. Now, what I'm going to do is to use the arc. I'm going to expand it like this, and then the circle. Let's change this one first, the color over here, color ID, let's see, this one. And then I'm going to resize everything like that. Let's change the background to white. Fill none. And this one, it's gonna be good like that. So this way you have everything center. So if you need to rescale, you're gonna be much faster, and everything's gonna be just in one place. So I'm going to use 300, 400, 400. Need to be symmetrical, otherwise it's not going to have a good looking. So let's explain a little bit more these two elements, the arc and the circle. So these two elements, this one is the one that is going to make the fill. So if you see here, the start angle in 135 and 405, which is this part, these two. So if I change this by 90, it will start from there, 180, it's gonna be from there, how it ends. Okay, so what we need to do is to modify the values going to be increasing over there. So when this value goes to 0, we just need to go over here. So the value needs to be 135. And when the value is 100%, we need to fill this. It's going to be this end angle, 405. So how we can do this? In order to do that, we just need to use a converter. The converter that we need to use is the scale. So see gauge. Here, decimal place is 0. Maximum source is going to be 100. The maximum output is going to be 405, minimum 0, and the other one is going to be 3 105. That's the key. 135 and 405. 135. So now we need to link the object that is going to be there, object list, the arc, so it's going to be gauge fill, and I'm just going to change the gauge scale. Remember to assign variables a name to each of the objects, so it's much easier to identify. And access to the let me just move myself a little bit. And access into the object list will allow you to see these things, okay, and how is the order. Now I have this, we just need to go into the gauge fill, properties, and here change the end angle. So we change this position over here. So if I go back here, select variable, select this variable that you want, but I'm going to assign a converter, the converter I have already selected. Okay. So now we'll change. And now let's have a look on how we can configure the scale. So the scale is going to be to 0 to 100, which is fine. It's a standard. Okay, so now we need to see this. You can see here the labels. You can also the division by 10. You can present that if you want to change the font color, ID, this, or you have the possibility to go to RGB and then select, change, and then what else? Basic. ID 1. We change that. A lot of things to check. From the other one, gauge fill, I haven't modified the border, so here I can change the border to the number 1. Now it looks much better. So these are the things that you can do. So let's go here and simulate and see how it looks like. If everything goes well, there is no errors, good. So now that I have this that says I want, let me see if I put this to front, otherwise it will be blocked by the other ones. There we go. So I have the other 2 elements above the this one. That's why I wasn't able to change it. So you can see how it feels. 65. Okay, 98. Then the other thing that you can do is to change the color. So you can have, for example, here assigned to a variable. So variable, add a new variable. My color. You can assign a color. Okay. So now, depending on the value that you have on the color, again, use a converter. We can view range, expression. Or maybe we can use Probably the best in this case would be to use, you can make like an expression in order to make it work, but I want to make it fast, so you're gonna make a script. So here, so on trigger conditional value change, variables, this one change if, now it's taking more time than I was expecting, but these are the things that you can do. So if then another if, another if. So comparison if constant variable now if this one is below 60, my bad, constant below 60, then what we need to do is to assign a new variable, new value to set value change to the variable of color, and in this case I'm using an ID, so the ID is gonna be number 3, I believe it's green. So 3 is green, so the next is gonna be 4 and 5. Okay, just to, when this one, if if this one goes can I make 2 conditions here? So the logical condition, if variable need to try it, if I believe this one is and, so it is higher than 6 and lower than 80. Let's assign the value 4 to this, and if the value is higher, zoom in, higher equal than 80, then let's move the value 5. So let's take a look and see how this works. Okay, errors, not connected. I copied it wrong. There we go. Simulate. I assigned the value color, don't remember. 10, you can see it's in green. 25, 55, and then with 61, 62, doesn't change, why not? Did I assign the color? Option list, notch field, color value. Yeah. Color. Ah, this condition. Let's simulate again. You need to let me know. Okay, so that's why it's important to check the conditions. So 51, now 61, the go is change, 78, and then 81 in red. Okay, so this is how you can play with it. Okay, so now imagine that you don't have 100%, and then, for example, using a drive that goes, for example, to 0 to 50 Hertz, but in the PLC is, for example, the 50 Hertz is 500. So let's create a new variable for this. So variables, I'm going to create a new int. It's going to be I frequency, and then the converters, the gauge frequency. So the scale is going to be for 50 Hertz. It's going to be, so let's copy and paste this part, 405 and 135. 405 and 135. So my 50 Hertz is going to be the last thing. The problem is that this one is a word variable, so it doesn't get the decimal point. So I need to multiply by this in order to get that portion of the things. So now we need to use this one. So because the real or the variables go from 0 to 50 Hertz, okay, which is fine, but in the PLC is 0 to 500. So now if I go back here to the screen and let's just copy this, I'm going to delete this part, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, so it's much easier to Ctrl C. This is copy inside the thing. So Ctrl C, and I'm gonna paste it over here. Okay. So now what we need to do is to change the grid to scale. So it's gonna be to function text. It's gonna be 0. Okay. Integer is gonna be 2 and 1 decimal point. Okay. The other thing is going to be the same. You don't need to touch this. If we go to the objects list again and gauge, now the properties is going to be different variable or a different converter. So it's going to be frequency and the gauge for the frequency. Okay. And here the variable is going to be the different one. Variable frequency. Okay. To this, and I'm going to change these to Hertz. Okay, so I believe it's okay, unless I forgot to assign different variable here. Frequency, okay. The thing that I need to change is this one, the color, because now it's going to be different using a different variable. So if this one is the frequency, and frequency, so if the value is 400 and 45, believe it's okay. Like that. Green. Yeah. I believe you already get the idea how this can be working. So let's focus on this one. So it's going to be 10%, okay, or the 10 Hertz. 0.5, you can see this over there. 7.5, it's working fine. So it's going to be 30 Hertz over there, 40 Hertz, 41, change, 44, change, no, it doesn't change, 45, change to red, and then full speed. So this is how you can do the things. Okay, so it's important to remember the conversion in order to make it work. So this is how you can use those elements for the graph and the circle, not the arc, and the what's it called? And the circle scale in order to display analog value in a fancy way. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.